This program brought to you by Brewski's Bar and Grill, located in Utica, Minnesota. Your one-stop shop for delicious burgers, fries, pizzas, and more.
Welcome to Sports Talk. Back talk with Bully and Ringer, and well, here it is. We're all set for the Super Bowl. Just the way we planned it. The Patriots on one side and the Rams on the other, just the way we predicted back in September.
Yeah, it just seems like we just had our fantasy football draft Labor Day Monday, and 19, 20 weeks later, here we are, and 2 weeks from the Super Bowl is going to be a fun one. It's going to be a much deserved one for both teams, regardless of what people from New Orleans are saying. It's a perfect Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think. Honestly, to say any of the four teams that have gotten in would have been very deserving. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I would like to see Kansas City get in there. It's been 49 years, et cetera, et cetera. The Patriots have been there forever, it seems like, and not that they aren't deserving of continued success and getting there, but it would have been nice if somebody different would have been there.
It would have, but just proves again, Ringer. I told you this earlier today when I saw you. Just the best coach in the NFL is Bill Belichick. The best quarterback in the NFL ever, is Tom Brady. It proves that time and again. I mean, how many third and whatevers did he have on that
final drive?
Yeah, overtime drive. Yeah. And even leading up to that, to take the lead, and then Mahomes leads his crew back to tie it up. It's like, do we have that quarterback in Minnesota? We just don't. We don't.
Nobody else does, though. From what you're telling me, nobody else does, right?
No, but I can tell you one thing, and you disagreed with me when I told you this. You could put Remmers and Reef on the offensive line in New England, and they would prevail, and they would do well, because if they didn't, Brady gets rid of them.
Well, that's why I say they wouldn't be successful with those two guys, because they'd get rid.
Why do we spend so much money on them? And they're signed for another 3 years. I mean, we got Cousins for 2 more, and Reef and Remmers. We're going.
Yeah, I agree. There are mistakes there, but at the same time, you have to learn to cut your losses. And when guys decide that they are, what's the right word here? When they have decided they've made it, they've achieved, and now they can kind of take it easy because I signed my contract and I'm making my.
Are we talking about the Wild or the?
We can talk about both. We can talk about all of them.
I thought that's what we were talking about when you're talking about contracts.
Anyways, so you're okay with the? Are we even going to go to the officiating thing?
No. Well, it's done. I mean,
done.
If you look back again on the last 8 to 10 playoff years, I mean, you got the Des Bryant non-catch. You got so many controversial plays every year and every game that decided who was going to win, except the Vikings-Philadelphia game. That was dictated early.
Yeah.
But it's just every game there's going to be bad calls, and it's a tough game to officiate, and but it shouldn't be that tough. That was so blatant. But it didn't bother me. I just laughed.
Yeah, I agree with you. We talked about this. Karma has things to go there and et cetera. But I will say this, and I've said this before on this show. I've said this to you before. The Canadian Football League has had it in there for years now on pass interference calls. You can throw the challenge flag. We want to review it. We think there was pass interference. And they probably could do that on a lot of plays, but you do it at a specific time. You only get so many challenges. And once you've used that up, you try to use it at a strategic time. But, that's what Drew Brees said yesterday. He thinks that will be coming in the future here, that you'll be able to review penalties. And I suspect that the NFL could look back at what the Canadian Football League has had done over the past couple of years and do some statistics and all that other stuff that they would do on that kind of thing and say, is this a good idea? Is this a bad idea? And the referees are always under scrutiny. They've lived with the replay stuff and everything else, and they've learned to officiate differently with that. I think the same thing with the possibility that they could look at pass interferences or some other type penalties. I think it, unfortunately, would be a good idea in that instance where you really need, where you know that you got shafted and whatever else. So
what about the ref? I mean, I haven't heard. Obviously, he's been all over the internet. I'm sure there's been things said about him, and actually probably said to him.
No?
Probably some fear there as far as a lot of goofy things being said. But again, I wonder what he would have done. I guess it's beside the point. What if New Orleans would have been down by 7 on that same exact play?
It's a great question.
And that's why I've always said about officiating, call the same plays regardless of what the scores are. And if you do that, you're going to be fine. Because then nobody can go after you and say, well, why'd you call that? We were down 12, 14 points. Well, here's the deal. I'm calling a penalty if it's a penalty. Same thing in the NHL. If you ever notice, a team that makes comebacks is a team that got a lot of power plays in the second half of the game. And that's the first thing I check on the box score, is when a team makes a 3-goal comeback. I always go back and check how many penalties were called on the team that was up by 3, and it's amazing. And all of a sudden, if you're up by 3, you cannot get a power play anymore because you're too far ahead.
You're too far ahead.
Yeah. But anyways, it's.
Did Edelman touch the punt?
No.
Did not.
No.
Don't think it hit him right there on the.
But in Kansas City's defense, and I think Andy Reid's defense, you needed to prove beyond
a doubt,
100%, guaranteed. You cannot guarantee that didn't just nip his fingernail. You couldn't guarantee that.
Or hit him right in the forearm. I think when the ball turned over, I think it hit him in the forearm.
Man, you were seeing things. Again, it's all in the eye of the beholder. Kansas City fans, of course, obviously saw it touch him.
Well, and that's like I said, that's the problem with the call. If you think that it didn't, you can prove it that it didn't touch him, then I understand.
Yeah,
then
I don't think
the
you can
reversal
prove
of the call.
Yeah.
But to reverse that call with what they were showing.
But it didn't matter if you look at the overall scenario of the game.
Well, could have made a heck of a big difference.
Well, they intercepted the ball 2 plays later. Same exact deal. They lost 8 seconds on the clock or 10 seconds.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, the irony of it all.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe the confidence in Brady would have sweltered a little bit because of that. You know, maybe he wouldn't have been able to. He would have drove him right down the field. He does it every time, Ringer. Every time they need a drive, he drives them down for the key touchdown.
So when are we making our predictions on who wins the Super Bowl?
Next week.
2 weeks. 2 Sundays.
Yeah. We're making it next Monday.
We're going to make our predictions on next Monday's show.
Well, why wouldn't we?
We're doing the Super Bowl show on Sunday the 3rd, aren't we?
Oh, we're doing it on Super Bowl Sunday.
Well, we're going to do
We're not doing a show Monday then.
We're not going to do a show. That would be our show for the following.
Yeah.
So we're making our prediction because I got to make sure I got all my ducks in a row.
Yeah, we're making a prediction during our 3-bar visit.
There you go. See,
and I still got to go talk. I used to talk to him real easy because I called on him all the time. But I will talk to the 3 bars we've been having it at the last 3 years, and hopefully they don't have an issue. It's some free publicity for their establishments.
Yeah, let's hope that they agreed to that. Anything? Did you win at fantasy?
No.
Oh boy, that's why you're all cranked up.
Todd Gurley.
Oh,
Did
he get stepped on?
I don't know what happened. I mean, he was out there. If he was hurt, why was he out there pass
dropping
protecting?
The football. Why was he out there dropping the football?
Why was he out pass protecting on 3rd down?
I don't.
That made no sense.
A decoy? I don't know. I don't know. I can't. I wish I could answer the question.
I'm sure he wants to know. I don't know if there's been anything said in the papers or the press. I haven't seen anything yet.
Todd, catch the football when it's thrown to you, man. If you cause a turnover and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but CJ, can you maybe get another 45-year-old running back? Throw him. Floyd Little. Let's bring Floyd Little back and throw him in.
Who the heck is
You don't know who Floyd Little is?
Floyd Little. Did he play for the Denver Broncos?
Did you know he played after Jim Brown and who was the train?
The Night Train Lane?
Yeah.
From Detroit?
No, they made that movie about him. Played for the Cleveland Browns, played at Syracuse. Died of cancer at a young age.
I can't think of it now.
Anyways, Floyd Little came in after him. It was Jim Brown,
that guy, and
then Floyd Little, who went on to be a standout running back for the Denver Broncos.
There you go. See, I did have Floyd Little. You sure it's Floyd? Little sounds, but Floyd doesn't sound right to me. Anyway, it doesn't.
Maybe it was Little Floyd.
Maybe it was Little Floyd. Maybe it was Floyd of Rosedale. Maybe it was.
I could name you every running back on every team from 1970 to 1975.
Ooh.
Try me.
No.
Okay.
I wasn't born until 1969.
I was 12 years old. I didn't study for math. I studied football players.
I can't
got me my own doggone TV show.
I can't fault you on that. Can't fault you on that. That's for darn sure. Well, you've been trying to get over to the Wild. So,
Not really.
So let's talk about the Wild. Let's talk about the trade first of all.
Yeah.
Nino goes away, and Victor Rusk comes in from Carolina, and
I wasn't aware that he's not the fleetest of foot, and we don't need any more of those guys. But he does have some skill. Very cerebral player, smart. We'll see. I haven't seen him really play a lot yet, and I'll evaluate his skating. But I noticed Nino got 2 goals and an assist last night. Well, that does not surprise me at all. No. And I'm getting to wonder, and I love Bruce Boudreau as a coach, but I'm getting to wonder if he is so doggone old school.
He's not relating to the new age.
He's not relating to the kids. I mean, why is Parise, Suter, Koivu our best players? Why isn't Coyle, Zucker, all these guys getting to be our best players? I don't know that. I mean, that was the core group of players, and none of them. Granlund's been so average, and he's not a great playoff player in the first place, so he doesn't do much for me in the playoffs because they just beat the daylights out of him, and he can't get the spots. So that's another one of our core players that's irrelevant. Coyle and Zucker, I think, got a point between them in the 5 playoff series versus Winnipeg. So it just continues, and I don't know if Rask is going to be the answer, but I wasn't against trading Nino, but I thought we could have got a little more value.
Okay.
I think the Aberg kid is better than Rask.
Okay. Before we continue with the Wild, I got to go back because you said you lost. Who won at fantasy, by the way?
Oh, Team Wilf, which is Logan Johnson, and our commissioner, Troy Bush.
Okay, and what were the scores? Because yesterday you told me that the projections were 89, 88, 88, and 87.
Let's just put it this way. Halfway through the 4th quarter
of the second game,
we were all within 4 points of each other.
Wow.
Kelsey gets a touchdown catch, which he got one thrown to him in the end zone. It was pass interference.
Yep.
So then that helps another team with Damian Williams run it in from the 1. So we're all within 4 points of each other with a half of the fourth quarter to go. And Wilf and Carter separated themselves, and me and Mark Corbett.
Thanks for being here, but you can come back next year.
Yeah, but that was a good year. I got 2nd overall in the regular season and tied for 3rd in the playoffs. So, yeah, good year for old Bully Boy and the rest of the Marino staff.
Go back to the Wild, 2-1 win over Columbus on Saturday night. You got to be happy.
Well, I don't get it. Okay, their last wins are against, Toronto and
Winnipeg,
Columbus and Winnipeg. These are 3 really good teams.
Huh?
Okay, and then they lose to the Ducks, Philadelphia. Detroit should have probably lost to Los Angeles. Yeah. So now they got Vegas and Vegas. I don't like their. I give them a 30% chance tonight, which isn't good, but we'll see. A lot of Minnesota people out there.
Yeah, I suppose it's, get away and take care of business.
I would have been. I don't have vacation time.
You would not have gone out there.
I would have gone out.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes, I would have. Ask Diana. Yeah, she would have wanted me to go.
She would have wanted me to go. Did you hear that day? You would have wanted him to go. Yeah. What else in the NHL? There are a couple other trades.
Keep winning 15-3 in their last 18. Anders Lee having a great year, but their defensive play has been awesome. Barry Trotz, I guess he knows how to coach.
Yeah, that's kind of the
beat his ex-team Capitals 2-0 here the other night, a couple nights ago. They've been winning 15-3, and not the greatest lineup. They got Barzal and Lee and Brock Nelson. They do got a lot of Minnesota flavor on that team. Nick Leddy, but yeah, it's amazing. And Toronto keeps losing. They lose at home last night to Florida. Yeah. Nashville got beat by Florida. Toronto got beat by Arizona at home. It's like, what's going on? So Minnesota sitting there tied for the 8th and final spot, as they normally are. So who do we draw? Winnipeg or Nashville? Thanks for playing.
Wait, whoa! Now wait a second. We're 3-0 against Winnipeg. What are you saying? What do you mean it's over? We're 3-0 against Winnipeg.
That's probably even more of a reason why there's no way.
You mean they're going to come with an edge? They haven't decided.
They don't play with an edge. They don't know what that means.
Winnipeg doesn't play with an edge? No, I was meaning Winnipeg.
Oh yeah, they play with.
Well, you don't think after losing twice to the team that they basically destroyed in the playoffs last year, you don't think they've been playing with an edge?
I don't know what's going on with this Wild team. I don't get it.
No, I'm talking about Winnipeg.
Winnipeg's great.
Why did they lose? Why did they lose the Wild 3 times? A mediocre team at best.
Taking them for granted. I mean, they laughed at them last year in the playoffs. Right? They did, as they pushed our guys around and threw them off to the side and
played playoff hockey against them, which isn't the same game that you played during the regular season.
Yeah, like my brother just hates the word, oh, they're a heavy team. I guess I don't like it either. It's overused. It's like, what do you mean they're a heavy team? Yeah, they're bigger and stronger than the Wild. I guess they're heavier, but it all
like throwing like a pitcher throwing a heavy ball.
It's all right here regardless. I mean, who has a bigger heart? Who's willing to go to the dirty areas? And unfortunately, the Wild don't have a lot of those players. They really don't.
Anything else from that aspect, from the NHL side of things?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm sure there's Panic City in Toronto. They don't like Jake Gardiner, the defenseman from Minnetonka. He's getting booed at the Maple Leaf. I don't think it's called Maple Leaf Garden anymore.
Air Canada Center.
Yeah, it's called something. You know that. Somebody sponsors them. But, yeah, it's... NHL's the NHL. I don't know. The game will be on tonight. Maybe after our hockey game we do. Get home and watch the... No, I won't watch it.
Starts at 5 o'clock.
It does. It's on right now.
It's already on. You haven't got your phone out and getting it as we take this. It's about 5:37 on the arena clock.
I'm probably going to check it out after the show.
Okay.
Before we go.
We'll probably turn it on before we go downstairs. Yeah. See what's happening. Gopher basketball. The 30-whatever point loss to Illinois on Wednesday, and then the near loss to Owen-whatever Penn State.
Yeah, it's crazy how all our teams, the Wolfies almost lost at home to the putrid Phoenix Suns. And now they play them again back-to-back. They play out in Phoenix.
Now, I don't know if you saw this from last night, but Cat had 28 points in the first half last night.
There was no way I was leaving the TV. I actually watch commercials on TV. I listen to commercials on radio.
I got 2 TVs, so.
But I will not watch commercials on TV. I was not leaving those games.
I agree. 28 points at halftime. With about 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, he's got 30.
Who? Cat?
Cat. 28 at halftime. He's got 30 only in the middle of...
Somebody not giving the ball anymore?
Well, Derrick Rose had 2 points at halftime and ended up with 31.
So all of a sudden he started gunning.
So, I mean...
How'd Wiggins do? Mr. Passion, Mr. Charlie Coyle of the NBA.
Yeah, with Wiggins with Cat with 30 and Rose with 31. They only scored 116. There wasn't much left over. So
it's who we are. I mean, I see your team lost too.
My team,
Gopher Women.
The Gopher Women.
They're up by 8 or something with 6 minutes left and lost by 8.
Yeah, very disappointing loss at
Nebraska. Giving up a lot of fourth quarter leads, Ringer.
Yes, they are. It's
Lindsay Whalen again. I'll take the good players. You can have the good coach.
And the Gopher hockey team lost a pair of games at Michigan State. As long as we're going down the bashing road of the University of Minnesota.
At Moscow, not real happy, but what are you going to do with it?
You got to give them time to put the pieces back together, right? You didn't expect them to come in.
How many years are going to put the pieces back? I suppose with
Moscow's first year. You got to give him a chance to get the Lucia whatever out of there. And
well, we'll see if he can be that under or that.
You got a Falls boy down there now. You got to be
two
careful.
Falls boys,
kind of two Falls boys. You got to be careful. We go after the coaching staff.
Kevin Gordon and Kelly.
We're going to have people coming into our houses.
We're not attacking the coaching staff. I mean, I've always looked at Moscow. I don't know if he's a great coach, but he's always been in that underdog role. Yeah. And people said, "Oh, well, he coached the World Juniors." Well, they're not. They're one of the favorites, but they're not the favorite. Okay, so I've always looked at Moscow as being that underdog coach, and now he's in the hot fire, and he has to win, or they fire you. He would have never gotten fired at St. Cloud State.
Never. Nope. I agree.
Now
he
probably will never get fired at Minnesota either. But he's got to win.
Well, if he doesn't win,
He's got to win.
He's got to win. There's no doubt. There's no two ways.
Jesus, college hockey, there's just no coverage. It's like, I mean, you basically got to go on collegehockeyscores.net to get any information. I don't even know how my Friars are doing. I know they lost to Boston College the other night. We never lose to Boston College.
Speaking of Boston College, as long as you brought that up, they're going to retire a former Broncos number here coming up, Tim Sheehy on
finally. What are they waiting for?
On Saturday, February 16th, along with another gentleman whose name escapes me.
Millen.
So congratulations to Tim Sheehy, as you mentioned, well deserved, well probably past due. He's only a 3-time Bronco Athletic Hall of Fame inductee, so I mean...
2-time All-American at Boston College on the 1972 Olympic team, and well deserved by Tim, and a great guy.
And I was going to say, an even better guy. He could be in the Hall of Fame for just being a stand-up guy. And of course, most of those guys in that time frame, I don't know what it was, but they all are. They come back now, and they're upstanding young lads, as far as I'm concerned. They're
Tim can use my house or pontoon boat anytime. He used it quite a bit here a couple summers ago, and almost to a point where I didn't know he was taking it sometimes. I got out there and I'd look at my phone and, oh, by the way, Bully, I took your pontoon, and the wife's like, looks at me, and what do we do now? I said, well, I guess we head up to the bar and wait for him to come back.
Wait for the boat to come back. Hopefully he fills her up with the gas. And
he took care of that.
Absolutely. Like I said, classic.
I don't know if his brother Neil would, but Timmy.
There you go, Neil. Now you got your shot. I assume that you have been following the Australian Open after I brought it up on last week's show. You've been keeping up.
I know Federer lost. Serena beat Halep. So she's into
You got up and watched it at 2:15 this morning?
No, I did not. So she's into the quarters and probably on her way to winning a 38th Australian Open.
Close.
I mean, she started when she was 5.
Yeah, she would be her 8th.
How about all the young American girls over there?
Doing very well, although 3 of the 5 that were into the round of 16 lost. So there's only 2.
Sloan?
Sloan lost in 3 sets.
Really?
Yeah, and so did... come on, Tim.
Venus lost, of course.
Venus lost in the 3rd round to Halep.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Doesn't matter. We got 2 left?
Two ladies left in the quarterfinals. One of them plays tomorrow, and Serena plays tomorrow.
The one who's playing tomorrow, the other one besides Serena, is she like top player?
She had, before this major, before the Australian Open, she was 0-4 last year. She played played college tennis at Virginia, and she won a couple of NCAA individual championships, and won one of those with a broken wrist. She was afraid that she'd let her team down. So, but she's won 4 matches at the majors. They've all been at the Australian Open, and we'll see.
Who's your favorite tennis player of all time?
Of all time.
Male and female.
Steffi Graf absolutely was phenomenal in her day. There are obviously a lot of good tennis players, but Steffi on the women's side. Men's side, boy, I do like Federer. Pete Sampras is, I mean, just because they were such good guys. They were such good guys. Robots, sure. Sometimes you got to be clean and robotic to get things through. I think Roger has started, as he's gotten older and got the kids, has started to show a little bit more of his passion, whatever, his soft side. But that's part of the reason why he won as many championships, because he could distance himself from all the emotional stuff and everything else. So,
well, you obviously know who my favorite male.
Johnny Mack, of course.
Not even close. He was even good in Deeds, in the movie Deeds. And I like the serve and volley athletic skill of Martina Navratilova.
Martina was very, very good.
But I also liked Gabriela Sabatini. And because she looked really good when she played tennis.
Yeah, well, and the thing,
if you don't know who Gabriela Sabatini is, check her out on Google, and you say, you know what, Bully?
You were right.
You were right.
You were right. Yeah, they go back to the whole Navratilova. I know in last night's match, or over the Serena's matches, they've been talking about her, how many times she's beat number 1. Well, the number 1 women's player defeated number one the most times was Martina Navratilova. She defeated the number one player in the world 18 times. So last night when Chris Everett and Chris Fowler were doing the thing, they brought that stat up, and she didn't like it. Because of course she was the one that got beat about 14 out of the 18 of those times. She was not happy to be reminded of that, and she said, "I don't see how this stat has any relevance to anything other than blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, think about this now, and I'm being serious about this. Think about the fact that now Serena has beat the number one player in the world 17 times, but she's been number one in the world like
how many times herself?
8 years total, maybe 9 years total. So to think how many times she's been 2 or 3 as she's made her comebacks and taken some time off. And she's the best ever. There's no way around that. She can do things, and it looked like last night she was going to win it in about 50 minutes, and then I don't know what happened. She lost her focus or something, and Halep started to play like a number one player in the world. But
Chris Everett, I mean, the only place towards the end of her career could only beat Martina on the slow courts at Roland Garros for the French. But again, Chris Everett, she had a nice run there. So
people at home that are watching this are going, Bully and Ringer have been talking about women's tennis for like 3 minutes. They're losing it. They've gone off their rocker.
I'd love to talk. I mean, the old Jimmy Arias and Aaron Krickstein, and I could just go on with the 70s and 80s. There was loaded talent. Manuel
you weren't an Yvonne Wendell guy, were you?
I liked he was kind of the beginning of the robots.
He was the beginning of the robots.
And you had Guillermo Vilas and,
how about Boris Becker?
Vitas Gerulaitis.
You know, Boris
Becker
came on at 17 and made some things.
He was like your typical. He wasn't robotic, but he was like maybe steroidish.
A little bit.
Not saying he ever was, but he just.
Are you trying to say he was very German and not?
I did not.
Because they're very stoic.
Yes, they're yes. Well, Steffi Graf was also German.
Yes.
Anyways, I could talk 70s and 80s tennis forever, and actually the 4th of July activities would always be delayed because I had watching Connors and McEnroe
at Wimbledon.
That was art.
That was great stuff. I still enjoy watching my tennis. I admit I have to get my fix during the majors. I don't watch as much at other times of the year as I'd like to, but Wimbledon is still on the bucket list. One day I will get to Wimbledon. One day I will spend enough money to get a seat at center court and say that I was there.
I can start that on your way. You know how?
Yeah.
I'll just go buy you a big red bucket, and then you take it from there.
A big red bucket? Because I need to get lots and lots of money.
Well, after you get the bucket, then that's a start.
That's a start.
My sister Brenda loves tennis. She watches all the majors. It's just funny. And my sister, I just don't ever have looked at her as being a huge tennis fan, but she doesn't miss it.
Absolutely. Where else we got? What else is on the agenda? Icebox Days is over.
Icebox Days, I saw one event. I saw the Beyondich boys and Heinley, the guy with the Coffee Landing with Steph. They were a team, and they won canoe races.
Yeah, out at Looney's on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, but I look at it, they had to beat Kerry Myers, though.
And he admitted.
I love Kerry Myers.
And he admitted to us the brain was willing.
You know, if there ever is a
Mr.
Mr. Icebox Days, it's Kerry Myers. He had a great outfit on, and there's a guy who gets it. We need more people like that out there because it's supposed to be a fun weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. My wife and my sister ran in the 5K, and the announced temperature at Gun Blast, at Shotgun Blast, was minus 31. Thank heaven the wind wasn't blowing. Otherwise, it would have been unbearable. It was pretty close to that in every respect.
Well, good for them. Did you give her a foot massage later on in the night?
I did.
Okay, you should. Because her cold feet were probably a little chilled, maybe a little bit frostbitten, and that's where guys like you and I step to the plate.
There you go. Hey, we're filming this a little early, not at Looney's as you may have noticed.
Bronco Arena.
Because we're at Bronco Arena. Because
we'd like to turn this around so you can see the outside, see our beautiful new boards and our new benches, and the arena is gorgeous. All our state championship banners, and but we get the reflection off the
So
glass.
if we put something up there to stop the reflection or the
then
glare,
they wouldn't be able to see.
Then we wouldn't be able to see. Yeah, Muskie girls and Bronco
what do you
girls
think
here
for tonight?
Going to be close. Going to be tight. We'll see. The teams have been busy of late. The Bronco girls played twice at home on Thursday and Friday last week. A couple of close losses to Cloquet and North Shore. The Muskies have played 10 times in 2019. It's only the 21st of January today, and they played 10 times already.
Wow.
So they've been busy.
Well, they play in a lot of these tournaments, which
Yeah, where they
falls
get
teams, they go on a 2-day trip, and that's good, but which they did do.
Yeah.
But I like tournaments. I don't know why Minnesota doesn't adapt that more, because you can get to play a lot more competition, save a lot of money on travel.
Does it have something to do with the fact that the Bantams and everybody else is doing that, so they're worried about availability of arenas? I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know.
That's a great point, probably, and I mean that's very valid. What else?
I
really don't have anything else. We can
Should
make
we
it
take
a
question
quick
and
show.
answers?
Q&A. We don't have anybody here, but yeah, we'll do another show next Monday.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Don't take us too serious.
This program brought to you by Brewski's Bar and Grill, located in Utica, Minnesota. Your one-stop shop for delicious burgers, fries, pizzas, and more.